Hello, everyone. It's good to see you all tonight for our Vision Night for Media, Tech and Media team. Tech and Media team, not media, tech team. So yes, tonight we are here to hear the vision of Liberty Church, Tech and Media. So, which includes like to talk about the sound or cameras, pictures, lights, PowerPoints and everything, live streams. So you'll hear more about that, but I just thought I'll just introduce you to this Vision Night. Hello all, welcome online viewers as well. So this evening, I just want to just introduce to what is the vision for the media, the tech of Liberty Church. And before that, I just want to give like a bit of background of what it was before. And as you all know that Liberty Church now has 6 congregations. Yes, 6 congregations. And before it was just, when I first came here, it was only like Liberty Church Rotherham. But then, and those times we didn't have the live stream, as you're all watching now. We didn't have this kind of technical outreach and everything. So it was all like just one sound desk there. We used to have a small laptop. We used to run all our thing were like PowerPoints on our laptops. So that's how it started. So we were just like just doing everything just there. One person doing everything. There was like or 1 or 2 person doing everything. Be it events, be it Sunday services. All of it was just done by one person. And Jacob sits there. He's like, he knows what I mean. So it was like nothing like what we have now. But God has blessed. This year's vision for the church, the Lord gave is to grow, like no growth. And it's amazing to see how much we have grown now, like as a church, how God has blessed us by this growth. Like God has blessed us with so many church plants. And when I talk about the media and tech team, now the generation is just like all in their hand tips. Like, whatever you want to know, it's all on the phone, all on social media. So it's so important. This ministry, the vision, the media ministry is an important part of church. See, if it isn't for media ministry, you wouldn't have sat there in your house and watched us online. So, one thing I want to say that is when God in the Bible, he revealed himself to people, to his servants, to prophets, even to Adam, to all different servants of his in a very different way. Like, he directly communicated with them. So if you see, like God chose communication methods to speak to his people directly. He used face-to-face communication with Adam. He used in form of an angel for Abraham, and he chose like to communicate in dreams and visions for Joseph. And he communicated with Moses in like a burning bush. And he also communicated in a sound of voice and appearance of a dove for witness for Jesus' baptism, and also tongues of fire for the apostles. It was all God, and it was all forms of communication, but the methods, the media and the tech or the sound was different, or all were different based on the need of the hearers and the message that God wants to give us. So it's the same thing. The Bible demonstrates that even God used various kinds of medias to communicate with people. And that's what the church is doing. So media ministry is so important part of church. It's a vital part of church. So, And we have been blessed with amazing team in our church. Like for Rotherham, we have Jacob, who's been in here for a long time serving in the media. And then God sent Andrew, who was like, does all the camera bits and camera things and much more things, which he will come and talk more about. And in Thurcroft, we have been blessed with John Chamberlain. I got the name right. John Chamberlain and David G. And in Swinton, we have Josh. In Thurcroft, no, I did talk about Thurcroft. In Doncaster, we have Connor. So there is God has blessed, and how much we have stretched in different areas. But before I invite Andrew to talk more about the vision, I just want to give a quick update on what church also does apart from different ministries. We also have internship program where we have different streams that people can choose to come and commit or to learn and to have some experience in the ministry. So one stream is the media stream, where we recruit people from UK or even from overseas, and that's how we recruited our media coordinator, Godson Jacob, who will also come and share his vision for Liberty Church. He's gotten oversees all the the videos, the amazing videos that you are seeing is all done by our media coordinator. It's done a great and brilliant job, and we need more people like this, right? We see that happening in Rotherham, but we want to see it happening in all different churches. And I can tell people come to Rotherham and they get we want this kind of thing in our church, and that's all happens with people. And that's why the Lord gave us the vision, grow. And that's what we will be growing in. And also recently we had our Kickstart program, where we also recruited Max, who was sat there doing all this transitions on the live stream. So he came through our Kickstart program, and he's also learning to do different things like editing videos, making the poster designing, and all that things. So I won't talk much. I'll just invite Andrew now, who will just give a overview of the ministry. Here you go.
You moved my tablet. Got it all set up nice and everything. Hello. Welcome, everyone. As Rose said, I am Andrew. I said on the intro video that I did, that was played out today, if something was broken, it was probably me that did it. I'm also the guy that's probably gone round everywhere and tried to fix absolutely everything. And I thought it'd be good to start with for a lot of people, just to understand a little bit about what I've done in the past, so that you actually have some confidence that I am breaking things properly. Most of you will have, if you've seen me, you've probably seen me on stage. I do a lot of worship at different times. Hello, come in. I do worship at different times, different places, mainly here in Rotherham. I do a lot of the sound, and I've installed a lot of the stuff within each of the sites, particularly recently. Back at sixth form, I did music technology. So I spent a lot of time trying to understand how music works, mainly because they wouldn't let me do actual music. So I had to go the hard way around and find something interesting like sound engineering to get my teeth stuck into it. And from there, I've just kind of grown my knowledge, understanding of how to do things, how to record, how to do videos. And I've just had a long journey over probably the last sort of 20 or so years to kind of understand how things work. And I'm a tinker for making them, or trying to make them work better. So I'm constantly in a strive to make things better. I'm striving for excellence. And that's kind of where we're coming from. So our vision, mine and Godson's, including Rose, and tying into the rest of the church is, next slide please, Max. is really to be servants of God. We want to see the whole of Liberty Church grow through growing the kingdom. Like Rose said, we're increasing sites at a bit of a ridiculous rate at the minute. When I came to church here in Rotherham was 2019, Aprilish 2019, and back then we had 2 sites, and since then we've now got 5 sites, one of which I've not even been to yet. I don't even know how that happens, but I'm kind of in charge of the tech side of it. But what we really want to say is we want to grow. We need people. We need people that are committed, people that want to advance the kingdom and understand the importance of the media as to how we're going to do that. Where are we now? So we've got 5 sites. As you can imagine, since... when did COVID hit? 2020, wasn't it? March 2020. So we've done 18 months of, for the media, what has been a bit of a baptism of fire. When we started the time of COVID, we had only Rotherham streaming. We occasionally did Thurcroft, maybe Swinton from phones. And as you can imagine, live streaming became such an important part of how church has functioned that we felt that we just had to invest into it. And financially, the church has invested heavily. In terms of media, not massively heavily, because we haven't got a huge amount of money, obviously, but heavily so that we can provide some of the services that people can engage with online. Next slide. We want to be growing teams. So in each of the sites, we've got 2 congregations here in Rotherham. We've got 1 in Swinton, 1 in Thurcroft. We've got lots of midweek stuff, and 1 in Doncaster as well. Like Rose said, I think it's at least 6, is it? So we need people that can operate all of those aspects of what the media do. We have to grow this team. There's no 2 ways about it. We can't all do it by ourselves. I have a full-time job, no doubt. Lots of you guys do as well, and that can be hard. But the more people we can train up, the more people we can release into jobs within the media, the better positioned the church is to advance the kingdom. And that ties into what it says up there about leadership. We need a designated person at each site that can coordinate that site and then can relate back to the team of me, Rose, and Godson, so that we can make sure that we've got people in the right places and we can expand the teams and train people throughout the whole time. For me, I'm always striving for excellence. I think it's really important that we set the principle that God is excellence, and we don't want to be perfectionists, which is not a Liberty way, let me tell you that. But we need to make it good. We need to make it engaging. We need to make it good enough so that people understand where we're coming from and actually have the interest to engage with us. For me, it's quite an important one, that one. The first aspect of that is sound. Every congregation needs a sound guy. And I see it as being a hugely fundamental part of everything we do. It's great having lights, great having cameras, it's great having this and that and the other. But if you don't have a sound guy, nothing can be heard. Not your speaker, not your worship teams, nothing. And as I put up there, it means that God's word isn't getting out. That's really important for me. Cue the video, Max. I find this one quite funny.
It's dramatic We're not going to make it. We'll never see the light again, but I will keep on going till the end. Yeah, 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 yeah. Our ship has faced a hurricane, but I will keep on going. My soul will sing, and I will keep on going
Now, I know it's a silly video, and it's quite amusing, but for me, it's quite an important thing to point out that the sound guys actually have a lot of power in this. Normally, that sort of stuff doesn't quite happen live. It kind of can, but it doesn't. And I'm not saying that any of our worship teams are that bad. But it's a fun foundational thing where we need to make sure that our sound goes out right so that people actually will engage with it. You know, it's okay having live streams and all this, that, and the other. But if people don't like what they hear because they can't hear a good balance, it's like a radio. They will listen to a radio, but you aren't going to watch a live stream if you can't hear it. So it's actually a really fundamental point to make, again, that the sound has to be right, has to be good, and it has to work for the outgoing image of the church. I had a funny one the other week where Pastor Adrian made a comment, and I may have switched him off, and then I forgot to turn him back on. Oops. Anyway. Next slide, please. I do think that the sound guys have a lot of responsibility in this, and I'll keep saying it. I think it's really, really important that we get it right, because we do have a lot of power. We have the power to switch people off, turn them on, make them do funny things with their voices, and all sorts of other things. Next slide, please. Lighting. This was God's first commandment, let there be light. So, I mean, if it's his first commandment, it's got to be pretty important, hasn't it? It ties into the sound side, but if you can't see it, you're less likely to look at it. So we need to be able to see things. Just so you know as well, I like having a lot of fun with all these tech things. I don't know if that comes across particularly well, but I do like to mess around quite a bit. Max, make it dance. So we have a lot of control in what we can do with lights and audio and make things engaging or distracting. And it's something that we want to make sure that throughout the congregations we get that balance right. We want to be people that are seen. No. We want to make sure that other people are seen, but we're not heard. Does that make sense? Because we want to make sure that everything we do is for God's word to get out. Because otherwise there's just no point in us doing it, is there? It can help create atmosphere. I think we're starting to get there with Rotherham. I think both Thurcroft and Swinton, we are looking at it. We don't have time to really work on some of those things. We've just got some new lights for Rotherham. And what we want to do is spread some of those other things that we have out to the congregations and slowly, bit by bit, develop on what we've got and improve what we're able to offer so that things like the live streams, things like the videos that we're able to do work well for us and give the church a reasonable image outward looking to the world. Next slide, please. Godson, do you want to do this bit? He's nervous. Come on.
All right. Thank you. Hi. Good to see you all here. Good evening, and good evening to everybody online. Most of you know me here, and those who don't know me, I just want to give a short intro about myself and what I was doing back home. I'm Godson from India. Basically, I was a commercial photographer back home and running my own business. Initially, when I stepped into do my media studies, my idea was to, do gospel ministry through media. That's why I did my media studies. And so it was always in my mind that I need to take gospel through media. And I don't know, somehow I went off the track and I was doing commercial photography and media stuffs back in India, and all of a sudden, God had a plan for me, I think, and He brought me here to Liberty and do media stuffs, and yeah, everyone calls me media coordinator. So that's interesting. My bit here is to do more video stuffs and reach people and take Liberty, reach everywhere. So my vision for videos is creating weekly content. So I was initially thinking that what I need to do for creating contents, and I've gone through some small analysis about the performance of Liberty Church social media platforms. Of course, it's doing great, really well. Though we do have active YouTube channels and other social media accounts, we frequently use only Facebook account. So I wanted to analyze a bit on Facebook, so how our Liberty Church page is performing. So I did analysis. Slide, please. I managed to find this statistics. So I took the statistics for last 6 months, the day exactly I arrived in Rotherham, March 28th, so till last night. So the performance on Facebook, the videos and things like photographs and everything, whatever we do on social platforms, the growth and the viewers we had is not pretty much well, is doing well on specific days alone. So when I see that exactly 2 days in last 6 months, we did well on social medias. The one on March and the other one on August 24th. Next slide, please. So, and then I compared with the performance with the last 1 week during our Vision Week. We did pretty much well. The progression was really amazing when I compared with last 6 months, and what we did in last 1 week is really great. We achieved what we achieved in last month. We achieved half of it. So I was thinking to create weekly content and update it every day, not only on Sundays, also during weekdays. So making contents helps us to reach larger audiences and and, engage people on our page. Not just skipping through the page, but going through the page and checking every activities and videos, photographs, and everything. So to do this vision and, develop and enhance it, I would like to, build up team and do more training sessions and create more videos every week. So if you do have a vision through media, I encourage you to come along and learn stuffs. That's it. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Godson. So let's turn that down. For those of us that have been doing a lot of stuff in Rotherham, Godson's been a real godsend, because we weren't putting out lots of content before the lockdown at all. We were doing every so often bits and pieces, and Godson was one of those people that really did push us forward in making content and getting it out there. And like he said, by us just putting more content out, we start to engage with a wider audience. The more stuff we put out, the more good stuff we put out, the further it then reaches. And that's really important for the church, so that we can actually reach further, because we are using these platforms really as an outreach. Like I've got on this next slide, I see the live stream as part of the social media. I think it ties in what we post, when we post, how we post. It's got to be done well. It's got to be done frequently, and we need people to be able to do that. And as it says, it's possibly been the most important thing that we've done throughout the church in the last couple of years, because if we hadn't been able to do that, then we wouldn't have been meeting, and it would have all been probably phone calls, maybe some Skype meetings. We did do some Zooms, but we were able to keep engaging with the congregation because we were live streaming. And that was really important for us. And that's important for us to then grow into the future as well. I do think it is likely to be one of the first points of contact for us as a church, between us and people out there. Lots of people now engage with social media, including live streams. And that can be their snapshot into our life within the church and how we operate, how we do things. It's also one of those things that unless we decide to take it down, it's going to stay there. And we don't decide to take things down because we want to make sure that any message is still there. It's then attainable for people later on. So we don't get rid of them. Therefore, it's got to be good when it goes out. And so, like I said before, we are striving for excellence. Max. Pro presenter. Yes. Yes. Yep. 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 Are you thinking once it's been posted or pre-posted? Because sometimes the way things can work is that if you have the information, like the topic that the speaker's talking on, if we can get that as a media team beforehand, then we can incorporate that into the post. If we don't have that, we can edit them afterwards. We can also edit them whilst they're going on. I had a really funny one once where I'd spelt something wrong or got wildly the wrong date. It was only at that point I found out you can edit them while you're live. Great. So yes, that is something that we should perhaps think about, because if you know that once you've got the PowerPoint presentation or whatever from the speaker, then by all means, if you can find a title for it, put it on, get it uploaded that way. It's a really good point, actually. Godson, were you listening to that? I think part of that is also in what platform you operate. So one of the things that we want to do is look at how we can widen going beyond just Facebook, like Godson said. That might change how we operate. But there's nothing to stop us from posting something or altering the post afterwards. So I am all for that. ProPresenter, another really important tool that we use. Without it, I wouldn't be able to see what is on that screen. It's important because it's a way that a lot of people interact with the congregation. Yes, it's the way the congregation interact. It's how they interact, isn't it? At the end of the day, we have some people that struggle to sing songs and just like to read the words. We have some people that don't know them, so they have to read them. We have some people that might just learn it in a different style. Same with videos. We need to provide these services that people can engage with and interact with in the services. One of the things that we did since the beginning of lockdown was we started to put the lyrics of our songs and our Bible verses on a separate part of the live stream so that we could have the shot of the people all the time. We introduced a new little method to do that. And that was so that we could also see a better shot of people on the live stream rather than us having a shot from miles away of the entire hall and not being able to pick out even who's speaking. So we changed the way we did the cameras, we changed the way we did the ProPresenter and made it so that people could engage a little bit better with how they were worshipping whilst at home. And as it says, it's really good for people with different learning styles as well. But it's one of those things that we also need people for. So at any service, we might need 3 people to do the sound, the lights, not the sound, the lights, the sound, the live stream, and ProPresenter. Jacob, in the past, has done all 3 at once, and it's tough. It's really tough. The more people we can train up to help with each of these areas, the better it's going to be for everyone, because then we can share the load between us and we don't have to run around different services, different sites, and we can make sure that we then, I want to say if, but it's when Pastor Adrian announces the next premises and the next team that's going to be planted out, we've then got someone to go and someone that's already there, still at that congregation, that can fulfill that service as well. I'm wanting to develop the video side so that rather than having some static cameras everywhere, we can get some younger people perhaps, even older people, I don't mind, anyone that can hold a camera and wants to be able to run around and get really engaging and up in the worship leader's face. Maybe not too close in the face, but it's something that we need people for. So anyone watching online, please send us a message and get involved. Final thoughts. What are my final thoughts? It always has to come back to God. Everything we do, it's absolutely pointless. Me standing here and saying what we're doing with media, if God isn't at the heart of it, it's just a complete waste of time. We really do serve the church, and it's something that is quite a thankless task most of the time. It's an important one, but a thankless one. And it's not just the church, it's the leadership. We're serving their vision of how we're going to go out into the world and how we're going to present the gospel and how we're going to advance the kingdom. And we want to do that excellently. So, next slide. They've thrown one in here, a little curveball for me. Oh, that one. Okay, that's fine. Like I said, I like some fun things, and this made me giggle. No matter what your job, you should always try to make it interesting. And that's a guillotine, for those that can't see it, with with a bowling alley at the bottom. It's a bit morbid, but there we have it. Last slide, please. If you would like to get involved with us, this is mainly for people online, because people in the room, we've got sheets and we may already know you. If you would like to get involved with any of the things that we've talked about tonight, please do. Please do. It'll make it so much easier for all of us. It's a fun thing to do. It can be stressful sometimes, I'm not going to lie, but most of the time it's fun. And mediarotherham@gmail.com. I think we're going to have a little break for a few minutes, and then we'll have a chat about how we want to proceed forwards. I'm just going to finish in a bit of prayer. Father, you know what our hearts are. You know that we're here to serve you. Lord, I ask that anything that I've said tonight that isn't of you, it just be forgotten about. Lord, we want to advance your kingdom. We want to do that as a team. We want to do that as individuals. Lord, help us to keep our eyes on you, keep our vision on you and everything that you're doing around us, and to serve the church and serve our leadership well. Lord, we want you to be at the center of everything. So Lord, would you bless us? Would you help us to bless others? Amen. QVT.